Hello, audiences. My name is Sandeep Parikh. I'm a partner with Ernst& Young, and I lead the intelligent automation and artificial intelligence practice for them. I'm also the author of Automation Conundrum. We all know that a digital revolution is underway. It is being called Industrial Revolution 4.0. Simultaneously, we are in the midst of one of the worst pandemics that the world has ever seen. At the same time, we are seeing that the e-commerce industry is flourishing as people prefer to stay at home and shop from the comforts of their couch. In a way, the entire direct-to-consumer has suddenly come to the fore, and very, very quickly at that. D2C was always going to happen, but at this speed and this quickly was unexpected. As they say, it is history now, so let's not worry about it. It's here, which I mean D2C. However, with the growth of the e-commerce industry and particularly the erstwhile brick and mortar retailers also switching to or focusing on e-commerce, at least for now, their employees are the ones who are currently working from home and are inundated with a lot of work. Right? They have tons of orders flooding them through the online channel. The fulfillment teams are working remotely in some cases and processing these orders in record time. Most of them are doing it manually. Bear in mind, the brick and mortar stores did not really plan for the pandemic, right? Paperwork has been ever so high, especially because people are working remotely. Think about invoice drafting, return processing, and the likes. Employees are facing a potential burnout situation, therefore. And by the way, I must add that this is not exactly the situation with mature e-commerce platforms such as the ones we know, Amazon, Flipkart, Myntra, etc., who have actually leveraged technology quite effectively. So then that question is, how important is it for the brick and mortar retailers who are leveraging the online channel more than ever before to leverage technology just like their startup unicorns, with an eye on being more competitive, flexible, but most importantly, keeping their employees at the center. To discuss this, I have the pleasure of welcoming Lokesh Wagardre, who's the head of IT at Kaya Limited. Lokesh, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Sandeep.
Okay, Lokesh. You've been around this industry, around technology, retail for quite some time. In your view, Lokesh, would you agree with, kind of this context that I basically set and the fact that employees are actually being burnt out, especially for the brick and mortar retail?
Yeah, I agree to that. In fact, I mean, in last 1.5 years, since people are working from home, it's become more and more difficult because the time management is something which has come as an issue to everyone. And since you are at home, though you can manage your work efficiently, but the stress and the kind of work which is there has increasingly impacting their day-to-day life.
Right. And how do you think, I mean, we could kind of reduce that stress? I mean, could we leverage technologies like intelligent automation to do that?
Absolutely. I mean, see, automation is inevitable. It has to be done in each and every industry, be it retail or be it any other vertical for sure. And the more you leverage technology and the automation, it will ensure that your processes are coherent and your customer satisfaction is much better. So leveraging automation is very important, and every industry has to do it. And it will actually have a positive impact on the day-to-day life of an employee as well.
Right. So, could you kind of share how are organizations actually leveraging, in general, of course, leveraging technology and particularly automation to benefit their employees?
Okay, so see, you can clearly see that all the brick and mortar stores are now, coming up with their own e-commerce, mobile commerce apps, so that they are not left behind. At the same time, they can also tap into the space which is already being created by the big giants. So pretty much all the organization now giving the customer a benefit of home deliveries and other things, which was earlier not there. In fact, I have seen a Central, which is a fashion store of Future Group. They were calling customer, their prime customer in the lockdown, and they were showing all the clothes using video conferencing. And then they used to pick those 5 and 10 clothes, and they used to go to the customer house so that customer can physically feel the fabric of the clothes as well, and then they can choose few of them, and then they can buy it. To do so, they were coming up with the mobile point of sale as well. So mobile point of sale along with the your EDC devices were the combination they were using in the lockdown period just to boost their sale and so that their employee can also contribute in the growth of the company.
Right. And what did they do to help their own employees? I mean, just to make sure that their stresses were down.
Correct. So since their employee were ready to come to the store, but the stores was not opening, so this was another channel what they have opened for their employees. So now their employee were actually talking to their prime customers and going to their houses and showing the clothes to them directly, which in turns were having certain amount of sales, through which they were not feeling left out and their salaries were intact and all those things were happening. So they are coming with a new innovative ideas using technology as a base.
Right. I think that's a very important point. I mean, these large format retailers and brick and mortar retailers essentially leverage technology, one, to make sure that the employee could stay in the game always despite the lockdown,
Absolutely.
and not get impacted because of the salary. That's the most important thing that people work for, apart from the job satisfaction. But I think the other thing probably that they also did was, automated a large part of the back end. I mean, something that they had anyways planned, it was on the way. They probably accelerated some of that to really enable that employees could, really be free and essentially take, as they say, if the customer cannot come to you, take the store to the customer,
Store to
right?
the
So I
customer.
think
Absolutely.
do you believe that automating in this fashion will at some point in time take humans out of the retail sales process altogether? I mean, will there be job losses in retail, or?
No, I personally feel it's going to improve the efficacy of a person and it will give them a room to avoid the day-to-day monotonous job and start working on a strategic project with the companies, and they could be a value editor in the entire scheme of things, because see, whatever process which is being going to get automated to be a kind of monotonous jobs and other thing. I don't believe that the AI can actually can overcome the human intelligence and the empathy and the customer satisfaction. Those things will continue to exist, and for that you will definitely need the kind of persons that you have right now.
Right. I think that's well said. Even I agree that people will not entirely kind of be redundant or made redundant, because I think what technology will find hard to do is the combination. I mean, while artificial intelligence can mimic the human brain to a
Correct.
fairly large extent, but it can't mimic that combination of the brain and the heart. So I think
Correct.
real human work, or the real humans are going to be hard to replace. And I guess clearly job losses are unlikely to really happen. Of course, clerical staff and people who are doing a lot of manual work, they will get
They will
redundant,
get
and they will get repurposed to do more intelligent
absolutely.
work.
So you should also look because of the D2C, you're getting so much jobs in the logistic area. All
Absolutely.
your Zomatos have been hiring all the people for deliveries. So this is something which is new dimension altogether, which didn't exist almost 10 years back.
Absolutely, absolutely right, and very good point that new avenues of work will really open
Absolutely.
up. Of course, the work as we know it will change, but newer avenues will open up. I've actually spoken about this in depth in my book, Automation Conundrum, as well. Uh, you know, uh, any initiative that we do, whether we do it for people, whether we do it for an organization, at the end of the day, there are three letters that everyone cares about: ROI, right? Return on investment. So what kind of tangible benefits do you believe organizations can really realize by leveraging automation, or are realizing by leveraging automation?
For any industry to survive, I mean, the biggest tangible asset what they can achieve is a customer satisfaction and the image of a brand. With all this automation, the human error and generally anything which you do manually is always prone to error. If you do certain automation, process automation, it ensures that the customer has consistent experience over a period of time. So if you're able to achieve that, then itself is a big benefit, because you have a loyal customer for a lifetime. Another thing, you will able to create a brand image which will help you go to the next level.
Uh, what are the trends that you are seeing as intelligent automation is being deployed in retail, both from the end consumer standpoint and from the employee or an internal deployment standpoint? So what are the trends you're seeing? For example, are you seeing that from an external perspective, there's a lot of leverage of automation to completely personalize the experience? Uh, Similarly, from an employee perspective, the engagement has suddenly become very, very important, right? When I say engagement, it's really how do you kind of connect with the people? How do you make sure their satisfaction levels are high? How do you retain employees, right? So what are the trends you are seeing on those lines?
Okay. So first of all, the customer has become more and more demanding. The more you offer him, he is demand. He understands that these certain things are possible, and you can see the kind of big retailers do, big e-commerce companies do. They expect the similar thing even from the smallest of the person in the industry. So I mean, if you see currently, there's lot of emphasis on the chatbots and the autobots. So basically, you try and reduce your first line of reference to these bots, so that your employee can only take those certain calls which your bot or other intelligent automation tool cannot help. So from those kind of technology, you will ensure that your employee will actually do what they're supposed to do, and they're not supposed to answer those redundant calls with a similar thing. All those being in any way taken care by the chatbots and other things. So those are few of the technologies which everyone is right now exploring. And if you see like bigger m-commerce app, they are extensively using it. Until unless it is absolutely necessary, you don't have to talk to the person directly. So that way it becomes very easy for the other person, other customer care representative, to ensure that whatever limited call they get, they have that kind of mindset to ensure that they manage it well.
So Lokesh, coming to what you are doing at Kaya, and of course, I don't want you to answer specifically on what's happening at Kaya because it is confidential. But so what's happening at Kaya specifically, also in the industry, I mean, similar to you and your compete. What are you seeing from a trend as far as technology leverage is concerned, particularly for employees?
Okay, so employers again, as I mentioned, that we are investing a lot of in a technology. So earlier we were using various different kind of Zoom calls and other things. Recently we have implemented Microsoft, pretty much all the stack of the Microsoft. So we're using Team extensively, because pretty much everyone is working from home, and to get them connected and make their life simple, we implemented Teams, we implemented O365. Now we are implementing Dynamics 365 in our front end as well as in the back end as well. So we have a cohesive system which will talk to each other seamlessly rather than having a various integration in between. So those kind of roadmaps we have for the employees as well as for the front staff as well, because those are the person, they are still working at the clinic too, but we are working from home. So we need to also ensure that our front staff is also equipped with the latest technology, so that they can also talk to the customer directly. Initially, they used to do a video call. Sometimes we don't have a connectivity. Now we have to equip them with Teams and everything. So now they are talking. Even we are now, our doctors are also doing online consultations. So they are talking to the customer using various apps. We have installed. We have given them tabs as well. So they are using all those technology landscape to communicate with the clients and ensuring that even in these times, the customer doesn't feel left out.
Excellent. So, would you agree, therefore, that automation will be more of a complement than a supplement for people in the short, medium, and long term?
Absolutely, it will complement it, and in these, see, the change is inevitable. It was supposed to come, but it just came a little early and unanticipated. So it came as a surprise to everyone. But generally, if you see, this industry is continuously going with the latest automation and the other thing. So this was supposed to come, and this gives even the employees a benefit basically to faster their career. So rather than doing a small monotonous job, they can actually be, upskill themselves, because you also have a time and other thing. You can
Right.
upskill yourself and be more relevant in the industry and in your company itself. So rather than looking at from a wrong perspective, we should look from a positive aspect of it, that it's kind of a once in a lifetime chance where you can upskill your career while you are actually working for a company.
Absolutely. I think very, very valid point. I mean, this is the time people who are doing routine, mundane jobs can actually upskill themselves, do more intelligent work, which is definitely not going to kind of get automated. Lokesh, great speaking to you. Actually, as you know, I can kind of go on and ask more questions, but we do have a time limit. So in the interest of time, what I'm going to do is I'll summarize our conversation and then close out. So in summary, and for the benefit of the audiences, the enterprises are reinventing to adapt to disruptions like the one we are currently experiencing. Emerging technologies such as intelligent automation are turning out to be the top levers being used by organizations to really reimagine their business operations or refine their supply chain, adapt sales, marketing. But the very important aspect here as well is that they are being leveraged to improve the engagement with employees in these difficult times as well. And that's a very, very important part. Um, Today, automation is being seen as a strategic lever rather than a tactical one. And with automation as well, people are and will continue to be at the center of enterprises. Automation will essentially complement them and not really supplement, as Lokesh mentioned. I have mentioned this in my book as well. It is therefore not about a man or a woman versus machine, but it's about a man or a woman with the machine. Lokesh, thank you very much for your valuable insights and our audience for your time. I hope Lokesh's ideas gave you some thoughts on how organizations are leveraging automation to help their employees across the retail sector. Thank you very much, and bye for now.
Thanks, Sandeep.